Alright, so today I'm going to be doing the brake upgrade for the Alphard. I'm going to be using a 356 rotor with a Lexus LS460 caliper, which is branded K17. Alright. Right now the car, also I'll be using a global adapter. The company is called Global. They're based here in Japan. Right now the car is running a global caliper adapter as well, but the caliper is from a Toyota Crown. I think is the GSR18 Toyota Crown, or what they call the 18 Crown, and the rotor is from a Crown Athlete, right? And again, I'm running another global bracket on it. Okay, so I'll be moving to this kit. Now if you go to Global's website, they sell a complete kit with the caliper, the rotor, and the bracket. So you can do it that way, because it does need a little modification, right? The caliper comes in contact with the car's caliper mount bracket, so you have to modify this section of the caliper right here. Right now, if you buy the kit from Global, everything is done for you. If you buy the complete kit from Global, right? Here is a breakdown of where you need to modify. You can see it there and there. Let me get this out so you can see what is done here. So this is what it would look like. Oh, it's a windy day. This is what it would look like after you've modified it. You can see that part right there is removed, right? That section right there is removed. Okay. Again, here's another part that shows where it needs to be removed on the caliper, and this is a dummy part. That is it, and that's what you use to remove that part. Now this is if you're doing it yourself. Again, if you buy the complete kit from Global, it includes the caliper with the modification. The reason I didn't go that route is because I had already bought the calipers, right? I had already bought the calipers, so I didn't need extra calipers. So I just bought the bracket from Global. I had already bought the caliper and the rotor. If you can see that this rotor has already been used, but the bracket that I was using before didn't allow the pads to cover the entire rotor surface. You can see this part here was not being used, right? So I had removed it and decided to try the Global bracket, which is a perfect fit, right? Now again, I did the modifications to the caliper myself. This one hasn't been done yet, but this one here has been done. You can see where I removed a section of it, right? Now the way I did it was a little different. Global's instructions are that you remove more from here, but what I did was I removed some from here and I removed some from the caliper mount, so a little from each instead of a lot from here. Now if you're doing it, I would suggest you follow Global's instructions, or just get the entire kit from them, because they are engineers, they know what they're doing. I'm just doing this based off common sense, this modification. I wouldn't say you should do it also, right? There's one other modification that you need to make, and it's to the banjo for the brake caliper right there. That banjo needs to be adjusted. It needs to be removed. That's this part right here. This little pin needs to be removed, so that you can change the augmentation of the brake hose. Alright, so I'm going to get started now, and I won't be able to video everything, but I'll try to do as much as I can. Alright. Okay, so here you can see the global adapter This is for the crown. But what you can also see is the modifications I did to the bracket, the mounting bracket, right? And that's to accommodate the LS caliper, right? So I did the same thing to the caliper here, right? But I'm going to remove this mount, this bracket, and replace it with this bracket. You can see it's a little bit bigger. All right, so that's the next move. Oh, and by the way, I've already modified the banjo by cutting it here. I'm going to be sanding it down a bit more as well. So here we have the LS 460 bracket mounted to the mounting section. I don't know if it comes out on camera, but on it right here it says LS40, and that's how you know you have the kit for the LS460. Next we're going to mount the brake rotor and the caliper, which has already been modified, and then it's basically after that is just assembling everything, putting on the brake hoses, well, this side brake hose, and removing the caliper totally. It's hanging right there. That's a crown caliper. And then once I've done the other side, I'll bleed the entire system. Okay, so this is the rotor and caliper mounted. I'm going to show you some clearances and some things that are probably redundant at this stage. First thing, the brake pad sensor, the wear sensor, I won't be needing that, so that I'll be removing. Then next we look at the clearance. You can see here that the pad actually comes all the way down to the edge of the rotor face, which is something that didn't happen with the previous system. I was using a caliper from a crown athlete. That wasn't a good idea, right? Up top you can see the clearance here as well. There's nothing rubbing, nothing touching. Alright, everything is in place. And here, I don't know if you can see it here, but the pad also comes out to the front of the, or the end of the caliper, or the end of the rotor. So that's basically it for the install. I probably will not bore you with the other side. However, I will have to modify this caliper, this part of the caliper here. I'll have to remove some of this, so I'll show you that process. I've already done the mount section on this side, but I actually had one of the calipers was wrong, so I had to order a new one, another one. I had to order another one. So I'm gonna get on that right now and finish up everything and then bleed the system. Okay, so after the after I finished installing the brake line, I realized that I did not need to cut off that little alignment part for the banjo. All I needed to do was to realign the brake hose. So that was a waste of time. If you're doing this modification, before you cut off this thing here, the brake hose alignment part, just check to see if the hose can be realigned, so that you don't have to remove that, because that was a waste of time. Didn't need to do that. Anyway, moving on to the next side. I totally forgot to do a video of me grinding down the caliper to make it fit, and I didn't remember until I already installed everything. Anyway, this is what it looks like when you finish grinding it. I'm sure people can do a more professional job. I'm no mechanic, I just like to do this kind of stuff, so you know. And again, if you buy the total kit from Global, all this is already done for you. All you have to do is bolt it on, right? I'm realizing now that the banjo doesn't need to be modified, so just bolt on if you get it from Global. Alright, so I just finished the test drive. Everything went well. You can see the lower part of the silver where the paint is on the rotor face has started to be removed. Oh, Caliwag. what I'll probably do is I'm gonna have to pull these off back, not the rotors but the pads, and do a full service on them again after a few kilometers or so, just to grease them up again and to clean the surface of the rotor, clean off the pads. And I also have to do some maintenance for the rear brakes. I'm probably going to change the rotors and pads, keeping them stock though. The problem I had with the front ones is that I don't like the floating calipers that much, so I wanted to put floating calipers on it. I wanted to put the fixed calipers. You can see I have no gaps up in there, everything just fits perfectly. Again, Global sells a full kit that you can buy and bolt these onto your Alphard if you need, or if you want. You don't need to. The problem I have with the stock rotors and calipers is that this is a very heavy vehicle, right? Round the town it's okay, but once they hit the highway and start driving, what you find happening is that the rotors get hot and you start getting a vibration in the steering wheel, right? So the stock caliper and rotors weren't cutting it for me. I don't know if you could probably go to a slitted rotor with a stock caliper and get better performance, but I found that it was just getting too hot on the highway driving, so I wanted to change them off. Alright, so basically that's it for today. One more thing, the calipers, should I paint the calipers or should I keep them looking stock, right? If I paint them, I'm thinking to go red or to go the same color as the body of the car, which is silver. I'm kind of leaning more towards the silver. I like the stock look. Or should I just polish these calipers, right? Sand them down and polish them, bring them back to like a more stock look. That would probably be closer to the body color, I think. But yeah, what should I do? Let me know in the comments below.